Hammock seat in class, and this is what the end thing is going to look like. It is as long as your waist is around. You're going to wear it like a belt. Okay, so the number of meshes we're going to make is going to be equal to how big around you are. So what I did is I took a string and I just wrapped it around my waist, and this is how long it's got to be. Okay, hold it up like that. That's where we're at. We're going to start with a chain start, so that's going to look like this. I'll show you how to do that in a second. We'll just keep making a chain until that chain is the same length as this string. Okay? We got our little foot hook doodah thing here, and your individual holes are called meshes, right? So this thing with my fingers in it is the one mesh, and the size of that is twice your mesh stick or your mesh gauge, whatever you want to call it. So if I put my fingers in there, that's going to be half of the size of this mesh. Right now I can hold 4 fingers inside that hole. That'll make more sense here in a minute, I hope. So I'm going to use 2 fingers as a mesh gauge. And to start this, we're going to go around 2 times and then tie a square knot. And that'll be our first one. Okay, that's about 4 fingers. It's a little loose. Alright, anyway. Stick that loop like that. And then we're going to use our 2 fingers, go over the top of our mesh gauge, go up through, and then down over top of your mesh gauge and pull it. Not real tight, but just take all the slack out, right? So now what we want to do is this knot needs to be about halfway up. So we'll just kind of work that until that knot is about halfway up like that. Now we need to tie off this right here where my thumb is. Not this one, but these guys here. So hold that tight. We're gonna over the top of your mesh gauge, up through, and down over top of your mesh gauge. Work that knot about halfway up and get everything tight. Hold this one with your thumb. Now we're going to throw a loop over the top of our left hand, and then we're going to go around the 2. That's your 2 right there. These 2. Alright, now you want your knot above, see I got it below. So you want your knot up here above where these 2 cross and not below where mine is. So instead of pulling that out, I'm just going to throw another one in there. This rope is kind of hard to tie for me. Alright, now we got it above. If you get it below, this mesh will slip on this one. And you don't want that. Alright, so we're going to finish with the tail over your mesh gauge. I'm going to bring it under over your mesh gauge, up through the last one we just did, and then bring it all back over top of your mesh gauge, or my fingers. And this rope needs to be tight, and then these 2 need to be tight. Not super tight, but just no slack. Throw it over the back, around the 2. There's your 2. Pull it down tight. Let's see if I can get it this time. That slipped on me a little bit. But the knot's right. Pull your fingers out. Fingers end goes over the top of your mesh gauge or your fingers. Go up through from the bottom. Over top of your mesh gauge. Put it over the back. If you get a little couple twists in there, it won't want to. Let's unwind that a little bit. Okay. I'm going to go around the two and up through that loop. Alright. Over the mesh gauge. Up through the last loop. Then back over the top. Hold it down. Over the back, around the two, and then up through the loop. Your fingers out, up through, and over the top of your fingers. Throw your loop around the two. Over the top, up through, and back over top of your fingers. Get them tight, around behind your hand. Sometimes I'll hook it with my finger. This is so twisty, it's from the center of the ball, the twine. It really wants to twist up. Coming up through the two, pull them tight. Alright, so let's say you run out, your gauge runs out, or your shuttle runs out. You gotta know this is a different kind of shuttle. This one's kind of small, but alright, that's how we load it. Twist it there when you go. If you can help it, pull from the middle instead of the outside. If you pull from the outside, this thing will roll. Alright, so if you don't want to use your fingers, you can use something that's about the size you want. So your mesh gauge is half the size of your mesh. So I was using 2 fingers, and that's about the same as this thing here. I don't know what this is, but
it's a spoon.
It's a spoon. Alright, so we're going to tie back on with a square knot. Maybe. Okay. Over the top of the mesh gauge, up through the last mesh, pull it tight. Loop over the top, up around the 2. Pull them tight. Over the top, up through, pull them tight. Over the back, around the 2. See, let me get my measuring string here. We got a long ways to go before we're... Alright, cool thing about this is you can hook it up to something else. Just back of a chair here. We'll just keep on going.
It's a school desk.
It's a school desk. Over the top. Up through. Down tight. Make your loop. Around the two. Over the top. Up through the loop. Pull tight. Make your loop. Around the two. Over the top. Up through. Pull it tight. Make your loop. Up through the two. Pull it tight. Okay, we'll keep doing that until we get the right length. Alright, go ahead and cut it.